Welcome back, everybody, to the Lore of Locals channel. Today I am going to be talking through the updated Mathmech Dinomorphia list. If you didn't look at the comments for the previous video and look at the pinned comment I left, we topped Locals with this, with the very first try. We played mostly meta. I think there was one truly sort of out of left field deck, but we played Tier, we played Sprite, and we came out with a 4-1 record. If we had won a single more game in the one match we lost, would have gone undefeated. But that's how it is. But since then, I've made some changes. I've kept testing, kept refining, and I'm hoping to get the undefeated next time I take it. I couldn't go this week. I've been sick, which is why my brain might not be working as much for this. But that being said, I'll walk you through the changes. I won't talk a ton about the cards that haven't changed, but we'll talk about some of the changes that I did make, and then afterwards I'll go through a couple of test hands. The test hands, I thought about making it their own video, but the test hands with this deck are not that complicated, and so I didn't think it was necessary. But with that, all that being said, let's go through the changes real quick. So we'll start with the Mathmech engine. 3 circular, 3 sigma, 3 addition, 3 subtraction. Still haven't come in the mail. I had to replace these with like a Diplos and something else. Very annoyed that they haven't come. But 3 subtraction, 1 diameter. Those are our monsters. These changes, the only one is we're running 3 addition in addition to 3 subtraction, and the reason is you just want the extender. Like, it's just so important for you to have any, if you don't have circular, to have any 2 of these, or minus diameter, have any 2 of these, or Teresia plus any one of these, and having more of them just makes it easier, you know? And if you have, like, addition, subtraction, you still can just, like, normal summon subtraction, activate the addition, and you're still off to the races. But those are the monsters. The spells haven't changed a ton, but there is a new addition. So we have 3 Signet Mining, 3 Small World, and 2 Superfactorial. The Small World is important because we have cut Fossil Dig. And the reason is searching out Teresia is nice, especially if you have like Sigma in hand and Fossil Dig. That's great because that means you get the Dinomorphia Frenzy out. But having just Fossil Dig and no Mathmechs really hurts. You would much prefer to, if you had a Fossil Dig in hand, you would much prefer that were a circular and 4 hand traps, or like a couple hand traps and a couple of bricks, than a Teresia, some hand traps and a couple of bricks. Because circular is full combo on its own, Teresia is just a very powerful normal, and while in a couple of the games at Locals, that was enough, 3 hand traps plus Teresia to have the Frenzy backup, that was fine. It would be even more fine to have a circular. So what Small World does for you is, especially since we're running so many monster hand traps, is it can search you Teresia I believe we have a bridge from any one monster to Teresia through our hand traps. So if you open like several redundant hand traps plus a Mathmech and you're like, okay, I have full combo, but if I get a Teresia, I have more power, you can Small World for Teresia. But if you open 4 hand traps and Small World, you can Small World for circular, and then you have full combo through. So Small World, it's just a searcher that lets you search for either your Teresia or your Mathmech circular. So, like, I really don't see the downside. I think other Mathmech lists, pure Mathmech lists, are running this as well, just to search circular, and the fact that we can search circular and occasionally search Teresia, so we can make use of it even when we open full combo, is really good. And then 2 Superfactorial, I mean, come on, it's Superfactorial, what are you going to do? So there's the Mathmechs. Next we just have, real quick, 3 Teresia, 1 Frenzy, 1 Alert. Everything's the same here. I mean, you want the alert for follow-up. 1 Frenzy's fine. You can run a Diplos, but that's another brick. And if you are just normaling Teresia, you still have the 2 in the deck. And while obviously you can't Teresia into a Diplos, Diplos into a Teresia, you don't have that many trap cards, so it's not like you were going to be doing that much anyway. And it's just more useful to have useful cards in here. Hand traps and defensive cards. 3 Ash. This is actually our only one of hand trap now. So we have 3 Ash, 1 Skullmeister, 1 DD Crow, 1 Effect Veiler, and 1 Nibiru. Now these might be really weird, but these are all necessary for Small World bridges, because Effect Veiler, you can bridge into Mathmech with this. So, for example, if you have like 2 Sigma and you would really like a circular, you can small world Sigma into Veiler into circular, and that gets it. If you have Nibiru, you can go Nibiru into Veiler into circular. Most of the powerful Mathmechs are lights, and so having 2 light hand traps that are different in everything except the light attribute means our small world bridges are much better. DD Crow is sort of similar. It's a dark that coincidentally doesn't have 0 defense or anything, so you can bridge this into Terisia somehow. You can usually go like Skullmeister into Crow into Terisia or something like that. It's really mostly here for the Skullmeister, because while you can in a lot of instances get to Terisia, it just makes it easier, and then it's also just a useful hand trap. The dark and the level come up every now and then, so like if you want to bridge Veiler into Terisia, you can go Veiler, Crow, Terisia, and that's one way to do it. It's not entirely necessary, but it is still useful to have, and Crow is just good this format. Meister is here as a level 4 bridge, because this gives you ways to go into Terisia through the level 4 route. You can go Sigma into Meister into Terisia, and he's also just sort of a second DD Crow. Just useful. These are all small world bridges and occasionally useful hand traps, and then we're just running 3 Ash because Ash is great. I mean, come on, it's fantastic. Notable cuts, we've cut Gamma, and the reason for that is really just he's very useless on your turn, especially since we're running Heat Soul. Like, if you draw into a Gamma with Heat Soul, you're really sad, but if you draw into an Ash or Skullmeister or really any of these except Nibiru, and cutting 2 Nibirus is sort of the similar reason. You just really would prefer to have a useful hand trap. Drawing to that with Heat Soul is a lot better. So those are the monster hand traps. Now on to the spells and traps. Defensive cards, we're running 3 Dark Ruler, 1 called by, 3 Imperm. Imperm for the same reasons, it's fantastic. It's not a monster, but it's useful enough, and especially very useful going first. If you draw it, it's a lot better than the others because you can set it. It's a trap for... it negates a spell and trap in the column if you can. That will occasionally come up, but people forget about the zones. But Imperm is just useful. Called by is really good. And then 3 Dark Ruler. It's just too good, this format, guys. Like, we don't really have the board breaking potential because we don't have Update Jammer OTK, which of course Dark Ruler wouldn't facilitate anyway. But we don't really have the same board breaking potential, but it's still just so good. I mean, like, Dark Ruling your opponent's board, Dark Ruling their sprite board, and then just still having the ability to go into your end board of Superfactorial, Frenzy, Transcode, Heat Soul, and those guys are big, so they can beat over a lot of things. Like, it's just too good. It's the best board breaker out there. I think it's slightly better than Super Poly because it doesn't take extra deck space, doesn't require a discard. You just say your opponent's board is gone. So that is all the changes to the main deck. There are no changes to the extra side, so I'll just run through those like this. So Sigma, our Dinomorphia package, 2 Limbertian, 2 Laplacian, Masquerena, Splash Mage, Heat Soul, Transcode, Unicorn, Access Code. These haven't changed at all. The thinking is the same. And then I can't remember if I showed this side deck tech for post ban list. So I'll just go to 3 Lava Golem. Your normal summon isn't necessary with your Mathmech. Obviously, if you open Terisia and Lava Golem, you're sad, but breaking your opponent's board with Lava Golem is way better than summoning Terisia if you can go in full combo. Lightning Storm for back row decks, and occasionally I'll bring this in against people who seem like they're not really focusing on keeping their monsters in defense mode. If they like to put them in attack mode, we'll bring in Storm. 2 Cyclone for more back row decks, because sometimes you just need to get around a beat cop. Unfortunately, some people at my locals are doing degenerate stuff like beat copying their Mystic Mine, so Cyclone's necessary. 3D Barrier, fantastic. Name Xyz against Sprite, they cry most of the time. Name Fusion against Tyr, they can do some things, but they can't do other things. And it just hoses some rogue decks like Sword Soul or Branded Despia. Like, D-Barrier is just too good. 3 Anti-Spell, also too good. You're running a couple spells, but you're not running a ton, so you don't mind, and it's basically IO, and it shuts down a bunch of people. It's fantastic. 1 Appointer, again, trap dust shoot at home is still very, very, very good. They limited this for a reason, because it's very powerful, and because they said, hey, just so we know, you're bringing this to 1 because it's very powerful. You should play it. But okay, that is the deck, and we will go into a couple of test hands now. Wee-hee! All right, test hand number 1. I'll probably do at least 2 of these, but like if the first and the second really just go exactly the same, like I probably won't do too many. This deck is not super complicated, but we have Mathmech Sigma, called by the Grave, Infinite Permanence. This is a Mathmech Subtraction, and Super Factorial. So this is a full combo. It doesn't have Terissia in it, which is sad, but it's fine. So what do we do here? We activate Sigma to special summon, activate Subtraction to special summon. We overlay for Alimbertion effect to pitch these 2 to search for circular effect. Yeah, we did this right? Yeah. Circular effect. Pitching diameter, because we want to get a diameter into rotation. And you already have the super factorial, but I mean, it's free value. So, and you have the call by to defend it, so we'll just Alimbertion to special summon, I don't know, Subtraction. Circular effect. Search out the other super factorial. And then we just go link into Splash Mage. Splash Mage effect. Res Alimbertion. Link into Heat Soul. Heat Soul effect to draw a card. Oh, look, we drew a hand trap. That's fantastic. Set 3. Pass. Opponent's draw step. We draw another card. Oh, it's not a hand trap, but it is follow-up. And that's really all she wrote. I mean, we have an imperm for something in the field. We have called by for something in the grave. We have super factorial for a Laplace. For Laplacian to bring back that we have a diameter in play, so we can go 3 to get a Laplacian for 3 sends and an Omni Negate. We have an Ash in hand. This is pretty much all you can ask. The only thing that I would say I would want beyond this would be a Terissia, but like, come on, guys, this is good enough. Yeah, that was a quick test hand, so we'll go into another one. Again, this combo is not super complicated. The issue is really just figuring out, okay, what are the extras I can do depending on the matchup. But that being said, we'll go into test hand number 2 now. Yeah. Test hand number 2. We have, oh boy, it's a little wonky, but it's fine. We have Terissia, Ash Blossom, Infinite Permanence, Circular. Full combo, 2 interruptions. Going second, this should be fine. Obviously, if we were going second, we'd prefer a Dark Ruler, but, you know, 2 hand traps should be okay. This can stop Kit Kalos. This can stop Perloreno or any send, so not bad. So we begin by normal summoning Terissia. Also, lots of people like to Veiler Terissia, which is great in this deck because you're not a back row deck. So you go, okay, Mathmech Circular Effect. We set Frenzy. Circular Effect, sending Sigma. Now, the reason we send Sigma here is so we can get the Circular Search now instead of doing, because really this is the only way to do it, because if we didn't send the Sigma, you would have to use the Circular as material to make the Alimbertion, and then you wouldn't get its search. So you special summon Sigma, get the Circular Search, grab Super Factorial, and then this is important. We want the Sigma going back into the grave, so we overlay the Sigma and the Terissia. Alimbertion effect, pitch 2, add diameter, because we need to get the diameter in rotation. Now, Alimbertion effect, tribute, special the diameter from hand. Alimbertion can special from hand, which is fantastic. And then you just go, dum-de-doo, Splash Mage, target, Alan Bershin. Link 3 into Heat Soul effect. Draw 1. Oh, look, we didn't draw into a hand trap, but that's fine. We drew into a follow-up for the next turn. Now, the only sad part about this is we have Frenzy with 2 Tiresias. So if you want, you can still do here. So let's say we say Super Factorial Imperm. Here, we have 3 sets and Heat Soul. We go to opponent's turn. Don't use this during our draw phase. During their main phase, in response to something, we Frenzy. We send Stealth Bergia, the final Tiresias, to summon Rexsturm. We are now at 3,500. Now, here's the only issue, is you're going to have to use Rexsturm's battle capability. You're going to have to use his half, so you would just use it now and then chain Heat Soul. So you'd go Rexsturm, go down to half, 1750, Heat Soul effect, draw 1, banish, IP. And now you don't have the Rexsturm effect. But what you do have is you still have Super Factorial. So you can still go, okay, I'll summon back these 3, make a Laplacian. So in this instance, you'd make the Laplacian. Let's say you get max value. You send all 3. And then at some point, you would just use the Laplacian's Omni as fast as you can so that you can use it as material with IP to make Nightmare Unicorn. So like, it's a little crusty. You don't get just the free Kentragina value, but you still you still get Unicorn, you still get Rexsturm, you still get Super Factorial. So even without the Ash Blossom in hand or the Imperm set, you have Unicorn, Laplacian Negate, Laplacian Send, Rexsturm Floodgate, which is just fine and dandy. You really don't need any more than that. So once again, not a complicated hand. The only issue is drawing 2 Tiresias, but even then, that's not too bad. We'll do one more quick one. These ones go pretty fast. So see you on the flip side. All right, last test hand. Let's see what we got. Ooh, this is a bit of a weird one. We have Dark Ruler No More, Called by the Grave, Infinite Impermanence, Mathmech Edition, and Mathmech Edition. This is full combo, funnily enough. It's a little weird to see that you have 2 of them, but it's still full combo. So what you do is you normal edition, you activate edition to special, overlay for Alan Bershin, Alan Bershin effect, pitch both of them, search out Circular. I mean, you guys could probably say what I'm going to be doing next. Activate Circular. Send Diameter. Let me just double check. Yeah. Mathmech Edition doesn't say it doesn't have to be a Mathmech Edition. Alan Bershin effect. Special summon. I don't know. Probably an addition here just in case they have DD Crow. So you still have these. Addition of Circular effect. Search out Super Factorial. I guess it wouldn't matter a ton if you say a DD Crow because they're interrupting your chain anyway. But link for Splash Mage. Splash Mage effect. Bring back Alan Bershin. I'm not even going to bring it out because we're just going to link it away again. For Decode Talker Heat Soul. Heat Soul effect. Draw a card. Oh, it's a Sigma. Woo! We have extension next turn. Set 3. Opponent's draw step. Pay 1,000. Draw a card. Oh, we have another Super Factorial for follow-up. Like, come on, guys. Like, you know what's going on here. This is your typical back row. You have Super Factorial, Heat Soul, cards in hand, and generally you always have a couple of hand traps to go with. If we were going second, congratulations. You drew the card that says no to your opponent's board. You could probably just beat over something with a heat soul. Like, this is not hard, guys. Like, this is really not hard. In fact, even in this situation, if you were going second, you would probably Dark Ruler, Splash Mage into Transcode, into Access Code, just to break their board and have a 5,300 beater. Because these are the 2 cards we drew off Heat Soul. You didn't even need them. We have a Super Factorial for follow-up. You could make Final Sigma if they get rid of Access Code. Like, you have so many options. This deck is super resilient because its combo chains are not that big. And if you start with any 2 Mathmechs, heck, here's the cool thing. Another reason we added in Skullmeister. If you start with Skullmeister and a Mathmech, you have full combo. Like, from these 2, we got a Heat Soul, a Super Factorial, and then so much follow-up. If we were going second, it would be even better. Like, you guys really got to try this deck out. This deck is just so much fun to play. And it can be built on such a big budget. You don't need the imperms. Obviously, the imperms are great, but you don't need them. You just replace it with some other cheap hand trap. Ghost Bell was reprinted in the Crystal Beast structure deck. Ash Blossom got reprinted in the Crystal Beast structure deck. It's not that bad. Terisia is only like, what, $7 I think I checked last? Frenzy's really cheap. Smarl got reprinted, so it's very cheap. Nibiru got reprinted, so it's very cheap. This whole main deck is super inexpensive. I mean, and look at the extra deck. Geomatic Sigma, 50 cents or so. Dinomorphia pack, it's not that bad. These got reprints in Maximum Gold and in Goes from the Past, so while they're, a little pricey because they're useful, not that expensive. IP Masquerena, yeah, it's a couple bucks. I think the gold one is $8, but like, come on, it's $8. The only expensive one is this fella right here. Replace him with Boral Sword, you'll be about just as fine. Your board breaking potential won't be as good, but your OTK potential will be better because we don't run at Update Jammer. The side deck is really expensive, but you can replace these with inexpensive. These really the only expensive cards here are the Lightning Storms. Replace them with something else. Go to 3 Cosmic, add in a Feather Duster, add in, I don't know, Pankratops or something, and you're good to go. This deck is a fantastic budget option, and as we saw from last week, can perform very well against locals. I mean, I played 2 Tearlament, 1 Sprite, 1 Altergeist as my 4 main matches. The 5th was against Grand Maju, so we don't count it. We beat both tier players, beat the Altergeist, and it was a close 2-1 with the Sprite player. Like, this deck has legs. The Mathmech package is super strong, and augmenting it with the small and very capable Dinomorphia package makes it even better. One last comment before I go. I don't know how many of you saw, but there was a new card spoiled for Photon Hypernova called Triple Tactics. It is a normal spell card, and it says simply, if your opponent has activated a monster effect this turn, you may set 1 normal spell or trap card directly from your deck, or if your opponent controls a monster, you can add it to your hand. This card is not like a shoo-in for every single deck, but it is uniquely fantastic for us. Because if you normal summon Terisia, and they Veiler it or something, you say, okay, Triple Tactics, set Frenzy anyway, go into my combos. Or if your opponent does something else, like if your opponent ashes your Circular Search, you can go, okay, Triple Tactics, set Super Factorial, go into it. If you're going second, you try to get some plays going, your opponent negates, you go, okay, Triple Tactics, search Dark Ruler, break your board, okay? Like, you have a unique reliance on normal traps going first and normal spells going second, that could be a really, really cool addition to this deck. I don't know what it would replace. Off the top of my head, it would probably replace the Imperms as a card that's really good going first or going second. I'm shaking my camera a little bit. But I don't know. I'd have to look. But that's something to look forward to. Darkling Blast is coming out soon with some new interesting secret rares that you could find some room for. But all that being said, guys, please play the deck. And if you like playing the deck, if you've tried it out, let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe. Seeing more and more activity on the new channel, and you'll love to see it, and I want to see more of it. But that is all, guys. It is late, and I will see you in the next video.